I'm currently watching the Formula One Hungarian Grand Prix qualifying session, and it started piddling down with rain. I think they're going to red flag the session. Yep, they've red flagged the session. Okay, so it's Saturday, the 23rd of July 2016, and this is podcast number 4. So this podcast is called Am I Still Relevant? And the reason why I asked this question is because I was going to do a YouTube video on telling my cousin and anybody that wanted to know what cloud services are, and in actual fact mainly AWS, which is Amazon Web Services. And as I was going through some of the features that I've never used, I could see that Amazon Web Services and any other cloud-based system, such as I think is it called Google Cloud, which is Google's version, or Microsoft's Azure. I've tried to use Azure, that's pretty good. But again, it's good and bad at the same time, because from one side of it, you're getting all these services and features which are yay, great, web accessible. They're not linked down to, they're not on a per site configuration. They're available anywhere across the world. I can wholeheartedly see the advantage of that, but the problem lies with me a couple of different reasons. Mainly because me as an IT professional, I would more than likely be losing my job, and the data that I have on these cloud platforms may be accessible by hackers, might be accessible by anyone, and I don't want it to be. It's my data, it belongs to me, I've accumulated it, now let me take control of it. And I don't like the fact that it's available all online with just a username and password to protect it, which is very scary, because as you know, there are a lot of hackers out there. There are a lot of people that use the same password for everything. There are a lot of people that use password for the word password, even though you can't do that on many websites anymore. It just opens up the gates for your company information, your company data being stolen, accessed, used by other people without your knowledge in most cases. So going back to being an IT professional, now when I was at university, I was studying to be an IT professional, and when I graduated in 2004, I didn't know the cloud was going to come along. I thought, yeah, I could get a job, IT related. And the thing was, IT does move quite fast, and it was even said many times throughout my whole IT career, because I've been in IT for more or less 20 odd years now, and people have always said, it changes all the time, but such a drastic change is very scary. In the old days, you would have a business that would have an office, maybe 2 offices in 2 different locations. You would have staff members manning the computers, manning the operations of the business. And obviously they would use computers, or they use paper-based systems in conjunction with, say, Microsoft Excel or something similar, or their own custom database solution, even a CRM system. So now what would happen in that instance is they need IT infrastructure, they need an IT person, possibly a dedicated IT person, or an IT person that is contracted out as and when needed. And these companies would rely on their IT infrastructure to be the backbone of their business, for them to provide the services to their customers. Their customers would then benefit from fast turnarounds, people knowing who they are, people knowing their buying history, their selling history, and it would be something a customer would never ever see, but they would get the better service from. And these services will all be in a network environment. So you'd have a networked set of computers who then talk back to a single file server, or you would have a database server where information would be stored every night, or where I used to work, where we had Sage Line 50 account software, which would need to be updated on a regular basis, and the data would be committed every night from each terminal onto the actual main database, and then that database being copied every week. Systems being put into place where it would automatically make backups every night. This kind of thing would be either dealt with by an in-house IT professional or outsourced IT professional. So they would be in charge of making sure the data is backed up, making sure that the network works fine, that the software licenses are up to date, the software is up to date, virus checks are done regularly, and all sorts of IT related or computer related tasks, such as adding users on, removing users that have left the company, etc., etc. And the IT professional would also be consulted on new technologies and new and better ways to do stuff. But now, here comes Amazon. Hello, I'm Amazon. I sell books, but also I sell web services. What are web services, I hear you say? Software as a service, infrastructure as a service, yada, 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 yada. Give me money and I'll give you services. Okay, so these services are now more commonplace than not. There are a lot of companies that are still working in the old way, but a lot of them are now adopting these new systems because they don't have to pay 30 or 40 grand a year to an IT professional. They don't have to buy loads of Microsoft licenses, which can cost a lot of money. They don't have to get developers in to develop database systems if it's a custom solution they need. It basically cuts out a lot of IT professionals out of the game. That's what scares me the most. It is scary because I went to university. I graduated in 2004 and I did not expect cloud computing to be taking away my jobs. Now, Amazon Web Services as a solution is probably really good for a company that has limited money, but you have to see it from this point of view where Amazon has possibly 5 or 6, maybe 7 regions, let's say, throughout the world. So they'll have North America, they'll have a couple of places in Europe, a couple of places in Asia, and each one of those places will probably only need 2 active IT technicians to make sure everything on their platform works the way it's meant to work, and any downtime is then, I don't know, rerouted through another region, which seems great because everything will be online always, and there's a copy of everything no matter where it is in the world. But the problem lies here. You're only employing 2 people per region, and what about all the other hundreds and thousands of IT people that have graduated? They are going to have to go back to school, they're going to have to retrain, they're going to have to get into using cloud services. The problem lies here is like, how are they going to feed themselves? How are they going to feed their families? Those 2 cloud computing experts that Amazon have per region will be fine because they'll be employed What about the ones that are at university studying for these degrees, and what are they going to do? They're going to be stuck. That's what they're going to be doing. And yeah, you can carve yourself a little niche. You can create yourself an app, become a billionaire or a millionaire. But that doesn't happen to everyone. You're gonna end up working for a supermarket or a fast food chain. I think that's the way it's going for a lot of IT professionals nowadays, because all the app developer jobs that are going are for people that are highly trained in coding in the latest platforms, the latest methodologies, and I didn't have any of that, so that really scares me. Now, I know as much as about the IT industry as the next man. I know coding as well as the next man, but I don't have the experience in these new technologies, and that scares me. Now, what if I lose my job at the end of the year or at the beginning of 2017? Where am I going to be? I'm going to be stocking bloody beans inside fucking Tesco, and that's scary. So a few years ago, I decided to look into Amazon Web Services, and it seemed good. I didn't know how I would incorporate my skills or what I know into it to provide somebody a service. So I decided to learn some bits and pieces, but I just don't have the time for it, so I've left it to one side. I'm not sure if I'll ever go back to it, but yeah. Am I still relevant? I don't think so. Do I need to stay relevant? Yes. It's a scary time for me and a lot of people in my industry. Now, the other problem I have is that I'm in the events industry, and I've been doing that now for over 5 years. Over 5 years I've been doing that, and I know about that as well as IT. And where does that put me? I have no idea. Do I carry on wanting to be in the IT field, or do I want to be in the events industry? I do not know. But this cloud computing is going to obviously push me to the event industry side of it. Now, because I was a late adopter on cloud computing, it's left me behind forever. It's not a bad thing. I enjoy it, but it's not what I went to school for. It's not what I went to school for. Okay, no more singing. So it has been interesting this week. Ghostbusters has been out this week. Yesterday, actually, Star Trek Beyond had come out, and I won't get to watch it until Tuesday, but I'm doing a movie marathon of all those old Star Trek movies. So I've watched the motion picture and Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, and today is the day of Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock, and I might even try to squeeze in Star Trek 4. I can't wait to watch the new movie. I think it's going to be great. I didn't like the first trailer. I'm just really happy that Star Trek is still being made today, and it'll be made in the future as well, with the TV show coming in 2017. But on to this weekend. Got another weekend of sport. Yay! So this weekend I've got the Hungarian Grand Prix, which I did do a video for YouTube with my predictions, but I haven't uploaded it. So I'm going to upload it later on today. Hopefully you guys can see what I predicted. My last prediction was 100% spot on. So I'm actually pretty good at getting this right now. I've had 2 predictions where it's come out bang on the nose. So as I'm doing this podcast, I am actually watching the qualifying session, and Felipe Massa has just now crashed out, which is not good. So I'm not going to talk about my predictions in this podcast. I want you to go and watch the video and support me that way. That would be great. Thank you. And the other sporting event is WWE Battleground. I don't know how that's going to end up. I'm not really interested, to be fair. I'm just waiting for SummerSlam. I think SummerSlam this year will be really good, so can't wait for that. You've heard me talk about this cloud computing. You've heard me talk about how it's going to affect me. How does it affect you? Let me know in your comments. So next week I've got a couple of meetings for work, and then after that I am going to be going on a 5-day holiday from work, and it will be my wife's birthday, so I've got a few things planned for that whole week off that I've got. It's going to be a fun time and I hope she enjoys it. Straight after I come back from that week off, I have to prepare for the first show that we have, which starts in August 29th. And that's Eco Summit, which I'll be going on site for, and I still haven't set up the courier for that one. So one thing I would like to mention quickly is that this year hay fever season hasn't been too bad, and that's because I pre-programmed my body with honey in my tea as a sugar substitute and to acclimatize myself to pollen that's in the air. And it's worked pretty well, so I think I'm going to do that again for next hay fever season. I have actually now started just using tablets. It's just because it's more convenient and I'm trying to cut down on my sugar. So some of you eagle-eyed people who are subscribed to my YouTube channel will see that I did a video on my Misfit fitness band. You will also see that I haven't done any more videos on it. Now the fitness band is still on my wrist. It's still working. It's pretty good. I think from what I've gathered from the data that I've been given through the app is that I'm not losing any weight. I'm actually fluctuating and I need to lose weight and I don't think I can. And that's worrying me because I don't want to end up being diabetic. This summer, if I can, try and cut as much sugar and fatty foods in my diet as much as possible. That would be great, and that's my aim now. In January of this year, I did pretty good in losing 10 kilos just by cutting out fizzy drinks. Obviously in the summer it's very hard to do that. So hopefully in the autumn I'll completely get rid of them. Okay, so until next time, thank you for listening to my podcast. If you have any comments, please put them in the comment section below. Any requests, please put them in the comment section below. Send me a message on my Twitter account. That would be great. Thank you.